Hi, this is Bedrock's guidance for teachers. So, welcome to Bedrock, and it looks like your school has started to use Bedrock. So you come to the right place. Now, a number of teachers will be very familiar. Will have been part of all the meetings launching Bedrock, and maybe in the discussions. Some of you might not. So, just to give you an overview for those who aren't familiar. Bedrock is an intelligent, knowledge-rich vocabulary curriculum suitable for all learners from age 6 to 16. We place students using an alpha test to ensure the work is differentiated, and it can be accessed on any device with Wi-Fi, making it ideal for remote and blended teaching and learning. Students can dip in and out of lessons, always starting back where they left off. So we always save their work, no learning is lost. And our deep learning algorithm ensures a consolidation of students' understanding throughout all our schemes of learning. And it also, our teaching content is self-generating and self-marking. So it's been designed by teachers for teachers to make your lives easier. So first things first, whether or not your school has signed in or connected via wand with your MIS system, or manually with the filling in the account creation form, every staff member will be sent their username and password for Bedrock directly from us. So once you've got that information, you'll need to go to our website. Now, you only go here the one time for the login, because you'll notice that the URL is different. Once you've got this URL, https://app.bedrocklearning.org, you need to save it in your home browser, just to make sure that when you come back to it, it's really easy to find, and it will always save your password. So here, I'll make sure that I've clicked on the Guardian/Teacher tab. Whether I am an admin or a TA or a librarian, all school staff will click here to log in. Now, when you first log in as a teacher, you'll want to start sharing your classes, usernames and passwords. To do that, you need to click on the class, user accounts, and then you want to show passwords and access codes. Now you'll notice that all these are the same password. That is quite useful for some teachers, and I'll show you how to do that in a bit. But all the students need are the username and password for them to log in. For their parents to sign in, to sign up to Bedrock, they'll need the access code. So it's really useful to have that. And the best implementation of Bedrock, they have high percentages of parents engaged. So you can download this, put it on your shared drive and share with tutors. Equally, you can also get tutors to have their own login to the Bedrock dashboard. Often you'll come to the user accounts to share access codes, but equally you can, if you go to class reports or school reports, you will always see the parent engagement tile. And this gives you a good idea of how many parents are engaged, and whether or not they've signed up to Bedrock. So if they haven't, again, you can download this and put on the shared drive. But it's really useful information to have when you're calling them up, to have those conversations about teaching and learning. You can easily talk them through signing up to Bedrock so they can see their own child's progress and engagement on Bedrock, and also what words they are learning. So that word level data is really powerful. Now, I mentioned that my class all had the same password. If you want that to be the case, all you need to do is go to the big orange button and select for them all to have the same password. Equally, if you want individual students, if you want to break it down, you can actually change the passwords at a class level for the individual students too. So just to make life as easy as possible for you. Now you'll notice that there are a number of ways of tracking progress and engagement on Bedrock. And if you look at the teacher dashboard video, it'll show you how you can look at an individual level, a class level, and school level. But I'm going to give you a summary of how to track progress, how to track engagement, and then how we can motivate students. So tracking progress on Bedrock. So firstly, when you look at your reports, when you're thinking about progress, the way that we measure progress on Bedrock is the progress made between the pre-learning tests at the beginning of a topic and the post-learning at the end of a topic. So you'll see that there are no, numerous topics on Bedrock. One block is an equivalent to an academic year's worth of teaching. We have 10, and they're each broken down into 10 to 12 topics. So you can see here, we're going to be getting a lot of progress data for our students, which is fantastic. And when you press attainment, as with all of our reports, you can query whichever dates that you'd like. These are actually my colleagues on Bedrock. So if I actually go to a school view, you might get a few more. Again, as I say, these are my colleagues, so the data isn't real, but you can see the average pre-test score of each of my students across all of the topics they've completed when it's default. Same with the post-test scores and improvement. So it's really encouraging to see. Equally, if I've got a governors meeting focusing on different cohorts of students, I can just select down there. And for a more granular view, I can even go to topic level and how students are getting on. And I can download this at any stage. Ultimately, all the data within this attainment report will be collated within your impact report that we provide for you, and that will be in beautiful graphs showing you how you're getting on compared to other Bedrock schools of similar demographics, and essentially how different year groups are going, how different cohorts are going, and what the clear next steps are for you as a school to drive progress in literacy. So we are really, really keen to help you in whichever way possible. So let's go back to our reports. When it comes to measuring engagement, we're really keen to look and explain what points are. So each week and each month, you will receive an email directly from us that will clearly state how you need to support your students. So every student on Bedrock earns points. And the aim of each week is for each student to earn 20 Bedrock points. They all equate to different levels of activity. Now, a student with great engagement will have green next to them, and they require praise. They're doing exactly what they've been asked to. They're consistently doing their work well done. A student with amber, they will need encouragement. They're just where they need to be, but actually they could be doing even better. And a student with red next to them needs intervention. They need a little bit of support. Are they carving out time to do Bedrock? What are the logistics like? Are they having issues with Wi-Fi? How can we support them with that? And if there's grey, it means that there's been no learning logged. And so that is also somewhere where you need to really make sure you know what is going on there. But the good thing about Bedrock is it makes it really clear on the actions that you need to take. So green, they're where exactly they need to be. And you can see in your weekly email, will give you the number of points they've earned and the activity they've completed as well. Now you can see here briefly what students need to do to earn points. They need to complete lessons, they need to work through their quizzes, learn those words and recap those words, and they'll be on their way in no time to be getting those green smiley faces. Now, in terms of analysing this engagement and putting it into action as a school, and maybe embedding it into your school practices in terms of whether you have house points or year group merits, or SLT, sweep up students that need that intervention. Well, we are here to help with that. Not only can you query any date on the engagement analysis report, as with all our other reports, but it's all color coded. You'll see here that you can do it on a termly basis, half termly basis, fortnightly basis, and it'll show you where they need to be and where they currently are. This can be downloaded into an Excel format, and it'll keep the colors there for you. So it's a great document to share on the staff shared drive. Really useful for pastoral teams, for tutor teams, for behavioural teams, for SLT, to get a really good sense of where students are at with their vocabulary and reading development. Now, your monthly email will look something like this. We want to see as much green there as possible. You can see here some of the year groups have a bit more red than we want. So we need to intervene and make sure that they are carving out that blanket Bedrock time. Are they dropping everything and doing Bedrock? So what can we do to make sure that they are making those gains? Um, I did mention the impact report. This is just an example of, a summary of an impact report where it shows you, where your students are in terms of their points and what can be done to make sure that this is a really long-term literacy solution. Now, in terms of reinforcing Bedrock within the classroom, at a student level, I'm just going to share my screen, but at a student level here, if I go to one of my students in class A, Becca Joyce, for example, I can see what she can see and her parent or guardian can see. So this is their dashboard as well. So that's what they can see. It's really useful to see their working knowledge organizer. And on top of the Bedrock vocabulary scheme of learning, she's got Bedrock GCSE, English, and the common Latin and Greek roots units. Now you can see here any words that come under vocabulary I have learnt, she's got right in her post-test, and so she's learnt them really successfully on the programme, having not known them before. You can click on these, and it's really useful for dialogic marking. So you can see here, can you put this into your own words? Something useful for her to think about, and then she can get back to me. So it's a nice way of keeping that conversation open and going, and they can constantly be developing that. Now, words don't just sit statically in this list. On a rolling monthly basis, Becca will get a memory check quiz. If she's forgotten it and not got it quite right, we'll go back to teaching it to her with recap lessons. So here, vocabulary I'm learning, she'll have recap activities on these, because these she's not got quite right in the post-test, so we'll keep teaching them until she does get them right. And vocabulary I already know, she knew these in the pre-test. So it's really encouraging, and often as a teacher, you want to be showing to your whole class what words you want them to be using in their writing and their oral responses. So the great place to go to for this is word trends. You can see this at class level. So for instance, if I was getting my students to write some creative writing, I might say, I want you to use, 3 Bedrock words that I know that you can use confidently. So words that over 50% of that my students know confidently. Any words that are in this middle column, 50% of my students are still struggling with. So I might embed that into my teaching and learning and create some activities so that they can really get to grips with what those words mean on top of the recap activities in Bedrock. That's going to be really powerful. And in terms of whole school word trends, it could be used as a really great way to have some data-driven words of the week. So they're not just plucked out of thin air anymore. So, for example, let's say, yeah, intimidate. That might be, the central word I get everyone across all subjects to use as the literary coordinator. So there's plenty of ways to reinforce vocabulary teaching and learning using Bedrock. And indeed, as you can see, there are a number of topics. It is worth looking at the topic titles and thinking, what reading could my students be doing beyond that? We do sometimes get emails from students asking, where's the rest of the story, and that's really, really lovely to see. So we're happy to see Bedrock as a springboard to more reading. So that should make that really easy, and you can see you can download your word trends as well. Now, in terms of praising students, how can I motivate my students? There are a number of leaderboards available for students. So you can see here. The leaderboards are really useful when it comes to creating that sense of competition between students. Lots of students really respond well to this. So there are a range of ways that you can, praise students and celebrate their progress. So here, if you want to focus on the attainments, the average progress between, you can have, again, specific times. You can get your top 10 students and maybe give them those prizes at the end of the terms. So that's a really great way of whatever block the students in, they're making that progress. They need to be getting that recognition. Equally, the time spent report is really insightful for looking at students. They may have a different working speed, but are working really, really hard, putting in those hours on Bedrock. So you want to reward them for that. The topic completion, again, this is for engagement. Students that are working through those topics, if you want to praise them for that, then again, you've got that topic leaderboard, which is so useful. You've got 5 minutes before assembly, or you want to think, what am I going to post on social media today? There you have it. The leaderboard is right there in front of you. And then this, for me, is the most important leaderboard, is the points leaderboard. So here are the points accrued by students for all their different activity on Bedrock. Again, this can be downloaded at any point and shared on your staff drive and celebrated across all your channels. And if you go to individual students, this is again what parents and students can see themselves, but they, as they work through their topics, they earn themselves badges. And as they work through entire blocks, they earn themselves certificates. So these are fantastic to just print off, all filled out for you. And if you were looking to have a blank version of this template, simply ask your customer success manager. So, in terms of the knowledge organizer, I have touched on that. But again, if ever you need anything explaining, please do contact us. We do have a number of videos and a number of things on our website. But as with all things, sometimes it is nice to have that human contact, as we all know all too well. So please do reach out to your account manager. In the knowledge organizer, I did touch on dialogic marking, but crucially, this really develops your students' independent learning skills. So do encourage them to go back to their notes, add to their notes, and use it as a revision tool, particularly if they're on Bedrock GCSE English. It's a great place because they have all their learning stored in one place. So I touched on support, but again, there's our number, there's our email, and we love to hear from you via all our social channels. You're doing a fantastic job as always. Thank you for watching this video.